My goal here is to make sure that people can play guitar with as much spice as possible without having to get involved in interplanetary trade. And one of the spiciest techniques out there currently is POLYMETER. In order to incorporate it into your playing, I want to examine Lindsey Buckingham's version of the technique that he uses in Never Going Back Again, and kind of expanding on that and implementing it in different ways. Thankfully, I already did the video on Lindsey Buckingham, so this video is the free DLC expansion. I personally like to think of this polymetric technique as a sandwich, where the high notes are playing a melody that's filled with peanut butter, and the low notes are playing a melody filled with jelly, but some bites are just peanut butter and just jelly until they line up. And ooh, is that a good bite? What a silly analogy. Here's a quick Buckingham breakdown. First, I'm just going to grab a comfort chord here. I'm just going to use this G because we're going to be holding that for quite a while. I'm just going to speed run Never Going Back Again so we have a general basis for expanding off of. Editor's note here, I'm editing this at 3 a.m. and I just realized that even though I'm holding a G chord, all the tabs show that the E and B are on the 2nd fret. This is incorrect, it's supposed to be on the 3rd fret. Just make a mental note of that. Sorry for the inconvenience. We start by doing a simple 3/4 pattern with the high strings. Then play the A string on every bar. Now play that bass note on every other high note. The bass string is playing in 4/4, while the high strings are still in 3/4. Next, alternate the bass notes between the A and D strings. For the full effect, add in the E string to do an E, D, A, D pattern. If you can do that, you can do anything. Literally anything. You can even fly. Don't try that, just take my word for it. So the first thing that came to my mind after learning that pattern is, what if we change it so the bass is in 3/4 and the treble notes are in 4/4. So I'm just going to go E, A, D with the bass notes. And then for the high notes, I'm going to go E, B, G, B. Because we're all in standard tuning. I hope you know that already. That sounds pretty nice, but we can switch it up a little bit more by adjusting the timing. So now we're going to have 2 bass notes for every 1 treble note. It's getting pretty interesting, but we can spice it up even more. I'm going to go ahead and do a hammer-on every 1st and 4th beat in relation to the high notes. That's getting better, but still kind of flat. So now what I'm going to do is, I'm going to move that 2nd note to an offbeat, and then I'm going to split up that 3rd note into 2 other notes that are equidistant from each other that land on the bass notes. I don't know how to explain it, just look at the tab. And voila! We have an original song I made. That's right, this has been self-promotion all along. You have been bamboozled. But another thing you can do is adjust the time signature so every beat lines up with each other. This is probably the more standard way to do POLYMETER, but hey. Honestly, I find that kind of hard to do. Just gotta practice it. Now these are all just things that you can do with it. Go ahead and manipulate it to fit whatever you're doing. Personally, I like doing it with major 7th chords. I think it gives a really cool effect. Now let's move on to the next step up in the totem pole. Now playing 5 against 4 was kind of tricky for me because I wasn't really sure how to make a decent melody. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. So what I defaulted to doing is just playing 5 of the same note for each section. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now that can be kind of hard to hear exactly what that sounds like. I'm just going to switch it up by alternating the high note every 5 beats. 1. Now we're getting somewhere. Then you can go ahead and alternate the bass notes too. Now in order to speed it up, what I like to do is use these fingers just to hammer on that high note. And I like to separate the 5 beats into 3 and 2. That way you use all 3 fingers for the first section, and then you only use these 2 fingers for the second section. Just stop thinking that. So it's gonna go ring, middle, index, ring, middle, index, ring, middle. So sped up. Now honestly, that isn't even that fast compared to what some classical players can do. But hey, it sounds impressive, so who cares? Now I'm all tensed. Now you can throw in the ED-AD bass pattern again if you want to really fill it out. Another pattern that I like to do is hit the high E 3 times and then the B and the G. And using those techniques, you'll be able to play another Octopus Rex original song. That's right, I'm still self-promoting, baby. In for a pound, in for Patreon. Now let's go to the last topic where we'll discuss. Basically, 7 against 4 is just an extension of 5 against 4. The way I like to break 7 up is into 2, 2, 3. And I do that because I only got 3 fingers, so I can't really do a 4-3. I don't know, maybe you could use your pinky, but mine's too short. I don't have Eric Johnson's godly fingers. Those things were crafted on Mount Olympus for the express purpose of playing guitar. So you can use all the same steps as 5 against 4 in order to flesh out any 7 against 4 things you got going on. It's all just down to practicing it and getting comfortable. Probably shouldn't have made this one its own section, kinda short. By the way, yes, I do have another song that uses this, but the pie is still baking in the oven, and I'm not about to take it out just to let you sniff raw dough. Yeah, just mix and match everything like you would Lego pieces. Or Lincoln Logs if you're into that. Want to do a 3-4 bass with a 7-4 on the high strings? Want to play them at the same time? You want to work up to higher numbers like 9, 11, 13? Do it all, do whatever you want. Music theory is your oyster to crack and slurp. Just be sure to use a little pinch of your newfound spice. This technique is only for people that like the video and subscribe to the channel. So if you haven't done that, go do that. Now, in order to get maximum spice, you want to add some syncopation to your polymeter. I'm not good at syncopation, I can only do swing time, but honestly that still sounds amazing. Check out this difference. If you want to get even spicier, throw in some strums.